There we go. Greetings and grace. Greetings and grace, y'all. Now you see me rocking the Grey's Anatomy. Shout out to my sis. I was like, ooh, I need a jacket, a hoodie. And she had one right there. So that was perfect. And so today we are talking about stuck between a rock and a hard place. More specifically, Peter. So we are talking about the time when, and this was, when Jesus was fulfilling, his calling, right? So this is right after Judas had, betrayed Jesus and gave him up. You know what I'm saying? For freaking money. And they asked Peter if he knew who Jesus was, and Peter said no 3 times. And the thing about it is, at the Last Supper, Jesus was like, Peter, you're going to end up denying me 3 times. And Peter was like, no, I'm not. I promise you, I'm not. And he literally ended up denying Jesus. So we are in Matthew chapter 26, and we are reading verses 60, 69 through 75 to the end of chapter 26. All right. You know what? No, hold on. We're gonna go up a little bit. We're gonna go to verse 57. Jesus bore Jesus before the Sanhedrin. Those who had arrested Jesus took him to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the teachers of the law and the elders had assembled. But Peter followed him at a distance, right up to the courtyard of the high priest. He entered and sat down with the guards to see the outcome. The chief priests and the whole Sanhedrin were looking for false evidence against Jesus so that they could put him to death. This is wild. To put him to death, yeah, that's crazy, But they did not find any, though many false witnesses came forward. Finally, 2 came forward and declared, this fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and rebuild it in 3 days. Then the high priest stood up and said to Jesus, are you not going to answer? What is this testimony that these men are bringing against you? But Jesus remained silent. The high priest said to him, I charge you under oath by the living God, tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God. You have said so, Jesus replied, but I say to all of you, from now on you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One and coming on the clouds of heaven. Then the high priest tore his clothes and said, he has spoken blasphemy. Why do we need any more witnesses? Look, now you have heard the blasphemy. What do you think? He is worthy of death, they answered. Then they spit in his face and struck him with their fists. Others slapped him and said, prophesy to us, Messiah, who hit you? Then it goes into Peter disowns Jesus. Now Peter was sitting out in the courtyard, and a servant girl came to him. You also were with Jesus of Galilee, she said, but he denied it before them all. I don't know what you're talking about, he said. Then he went out to the gateway where another servant girl saw him and said to the people there, this fellow was with Jesus of Nazareth. He denied it again with an oath. I don't know the man. And then he did it with the exclamation mark, I don't know the man. After a little while, those standing there went up to Peter and said, surely you are one of them. Your accent gives you away. Was Peter country? That was just a sidebar. Was Peter country? Then he began to call down curses, and he swore to them, I don't know the man. Immediately a rooster crowed. Then Peter remembered the word Jesus had spoken. Before the rooster crows, you would disown me 3 times. And he went outside and wept bitterly. So, continuing on, we're talking about sabotaging, right? You know, there is a fine line when it comes to humanity, right? We can be like, oh, I'm not this or I'm not that all day long. But in the thick of it, somebody can be that. Whatever that is, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, that's like twice the amount of sabotage, because when you think about it, he denied that he was like that, and he didn't mean, he probably didn't mean to. He was probably terrified, you know what I'm saying, at this point in time. And even though he knew what was going to happen, still his humanity kicked in, his flesh kicked in, and all that stuff like that. And the other part of the sabotage is him actually doing it, not just once, but 3 times. And I believe firmly that this is something that a lot of us can relate to. Have you ever denied that you knew something, right? And that was to keep you out of trouble. I think we've all gone through that, whether we were children, whether we were adults, whatever. I mean, there's that famous saying, my name is Bennett and I ain't in it. Even though you know what happened, but your name is Bennett and you ain't in it. And, it's understandable. And when it comes to this magnitude, I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? That joint is wild, but he felt ashamed because he realized, dang, I'm not a man of my word. He also realized that Jesus was right. I literally denied him 3 times before the rooster crowed. And I told him last night I wasn't going to do that. And then he ended up doing it, and this joint was wild because if you go back in chapter 26, verse 31, where it says Jesus predicts Peter's denial, then Jesus told them, this very night you will all fall away on account of me, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have risen, I will go ahead of you into Galilee. Peter replied, even if I fall away on account of you, I never will. So, dang, that's 3 times. That's 3 times of sabotage. Peter shouldn't have said anything. Peter should just shut up and listen because he was like, I never will. Truly, I tell you, Jesus answered, this very night before the rooster crows, you would disown me 3 times. But Peter declared, even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you. And all the other disciples said the same. Yo, that's wild. So, it kind of, when you think about the whole picture, it's like, yo, Peter was definitely trying to hide out and try not to be associated because he didn't want to be tried and everything like that with the people that were, working very hard, chief priests and everything like that. And he shouldn't have said nothing at all because 3 times before, three times sabotaged it. 3 times he's like, I never will. Then he said, even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you. And then he disowns him. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know the man. And then he said again, I don't know the man. And the third time he said it, it was, he was swearing and everything like that. But, but him calling down curses, I think that is a difference between the actual swearing. I'm not sure. I don't know how it was, what I'm saying, back in the Bible times, but stop sabotaging, right? A great way to stop sabotaging is to not put yourself in a predicament where, excuse me, where everybody's going to be looking to see if you're going to match your word. That right there. Like, I mean, seriously, yo, we can sabotage ourselves with the things that we say. And so I just want to encourage you to think about that and to think about the promises that you make and how you live your life. And, what I will say about this is that, Jesus forgave Peter. He did. And, Jesus even asked him 3 times after that, after the fact. And he was like, do you love me? And Peter kept saying yes. And Peter kept saying yes. Peter kept saying yes. And, Jesus forgave him, and what's powerful is that even with all of Peter's flaws, he was still one of Jesus's favorites, and when it comes to King David, all of his flaws, he was still one of God's favorites. So I just want to encourage you to know and to realize that we all have flaws and God still loves you. You know, don't be like Adam and hide away from, what I'm saying, accountability. Don't be like Judas and because of shame, you choose to off your life. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? I know sometimes, these things are easier said than done, right? Not being like something or somebody else, but you want to think about it this way. And, when it comes to mistakes, they're going to happen. We're all going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Look, you're going to make a mistake sometime this week. And it could be the smallest little, tiniest little mistake, or it could be a big one. Who knows? But we all make mistakes. So I really want to encourage you to not allow those mistakes to hinder you or to keep you from continuously serving your purpose. You are here for a reason. God loves you. You are created. How you came into this world, you are loved. You are created. You made it past what? 1 trillion sperm. Make it count. All right, that's all. Hey, that's all. Don't sabotage it. Don't sabotage your time here. Make it count. All right, so thank you so much for tuning in. I am sleepy. You can probably tell But hey, we're gonna make it through, y'all. Staying with it. All right, have a beautiful night. Good night, y'all.